Good morning, High School South. I'm Sarah Kamyati. Today we have a very special guest, the Mayor of Middletown, Dr. Jerry Scharfenberger. Welcome, Mayor Scharfenberger.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and speak with us.
My pleasure.
And our first question that Middletown students are dying to know, have you lived in Middletown your whole life?
No, I haven't. It'll be 19 years this coming August since we moved down here.
Wow. This is your second time being mayor. Is there anything that you want to do your second time around that you didn't do your first time?
Well, there's always a lot of things you want to do. You want to try and replace property taxes with other sources of revenue to help ease the burden on people who are living in Middletown and in New Jersey as a whole.
Mm-hmm. And something that students, especially in the studio, are really curious about, do you get to live in a special mayor house?
No, it's the same house. I moved down here since we first came here and didn't know anybody.
Okay. Before you got involved in politics, you were professor of archaeology at Monmouth University. Mm-hmm. What exactly does an archaeologist do?
Well, I'm still presently a professor at Monmouth, and I teach archaeology. I also work for the Christie administration as a director in the Department of State. But archaeologists, especially who work in a regular 9-to-5 job, they're compliance archaeologists, where there are certain laws where if there's certain sorts of development that involve federal money or sometimes state money, this law mandates that an archaeological study be done before the project is implemented.
That's very interesting. Why did you decide to get involved in politics, though, as a switch from archaeology?
Well, you know, it's sort of evolved over time. I was appointed to the Landmark Commission. It's almost 17 years now, and that was my first entree into public service. Mm-hmm. And from there, I got involved with the zoning board. There was a mall that was proposed several years ago that a lot of folks were against, and I got involved in that. And I had written some letters to the newspaper, and one of the local parties contacted me and asked if I would like to run for office. And I had no knowledge of doing that or no thoughts about it before they contacted me. And it's been very, very rewarding.
Yeah. 2012 was a hard year for Middletown with the Hurricane Sandy and the recent snowstorm. How is Middletown rebuilding?
Well, Middletown has, I believe, come out of the storm a lot better than some of the surrounding communities. We had some areas that were terribly hard hit, and we're trying to get those folks as much assistance as possible. Naturally, we're beholden to the federal government and to the state government, you know, as far as rebuilding, when they can rebuild, where the funds are going to come from. But we're hoping that will be settled fairly soon now that the federal money seems to be coming into the state. And you know, give the folks there as much guidance. We just don't want people to rebuild exactly the way they were, and every time an event like this happens, they'll be in the same predicament. So we really want to make sure they build smarter, better, and more resilient than before.
Yes. Your children have attended High School South. What was your favorite memory of their time here?
Well, my daughter just graduated from college, so she got I believe that she received a really thorough, well-rounded education here that gave her the basis to succeed in college. My son is a sophomore here, so I think the best memories are still to come.
That's great. What is the weirdest place you've ever been to in New Jersey?
The weirdest place, probably as an archaeologist, I went to Sybil's Cave, which is in Hoboken, and it was an 1840s natural spring that people used to go to, and supposedly the water had health properties. And it was a sealed cave, and then they opened it up to try and rehabilitate it and maybe make it accessible to the public. And that was probably the weirdest thing, because you opened it up and there was all these writing on the cave walls from the 1830s and 40s, and it was very interesting.
That's incredible. We understand that Middletown has a big push for economic development. What can you say about that?
Well, this is something we're very interested in. Last year, the end of last year, we formed something called the Economic Development Committee. And those are folks who live in town here. They all have different involvement in business and economic development. We have a global financial specialist. We have local business owners, local commercial property owners sitting on this board to try and identify ways that we can bring more business into town. We also have several big economic development projects coming in. We have the Sloan Kettering Cancer Center coming in later this year. We have the Trinity All-Girls High School coming into Middletown.
That's great.
So we have a couple of projects that are really going to be good for Middletown. And when you do that, it takes the pressure off of residential property tax owners when you expand the commercial tax rateable base. So what we're trying to do is bring more business into town, hopefully into existing properties, because that really hurts the town when those properties, whenever you drive up and down, say 35, and you see empty strip malls, that hurts the town because that decreases the tax revenue. When you increase that, that helps everybody's property taxes, and we're doing everything we can to lower property taxes here in Middletown. One of the other things that we have that we're going to hopefully implement this year is something called the property tax rebate card, where people, if they patronize local businesses, they'll be able to swipe a card and get a percentage off of their property taxes. Now this works much like a coupon, where instead of getting the percentage off when you go to the register, it will come off of your property taxes. So it's a great way to encourage people to shop here in town.
That's incredible.
Plus lower their property taxes just by shopping in their normal routine. So it's a great thing. We also have a historic preservation committee where it ties into the economic development. And we're hoping to expand heritage tourism here in the town, where we get folks to visit our historic sites, and we have dozens of them in town. And every time you get people to come to visit those sites, they will eat in our restaurants, fill up at our gas stations, buy products at our convenience stores. So it really helps economic development there.
That's fantastic. Thank you for spending so much time with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
For Wake Up South, I'm Sarah Camiotti. Have a great day.